guys, we're back. I just want to do a quick video about some of the materials we're using for your next assignment number 2, Dreamscapes. And the technique we're using for this theme is hand-drawn films. One of them is called Ruby Lith. The other, and that's a film you actually cut. And the other handmade film is matte Duralar with opaque media drawn onto it. So those are films. We're making another stencil embedded into the mesh of the screen. This one, like I said, we're making light stencils, hand-drawn film with photo emulsion. We'll be using Graphic HU, Sati brand, and what this is, it's a light-sensitive sauce or coating that you, in a light-safe place, you coat a silk screen with photo emulsion, let it dry, and that coating is light-sensitive. So how you make a light stencil in the mesh of the screen is you would squish together film that you draw into or cut, and you expose that coating on your screen through lights, through stencils such as Ruby Lith and matte Duralar with opaque media drawn on it, and you expose the coating through the stencils with UV light such as the sun, or there's UV light bulbs out there, kind of synthetic light source, but you expose light through stencils and it affects the photo emulsion in such a way that you get open shapes and closed shapes in your silk screen, just like you had an open and closed shape with a cut paper stencil or a screen filler and drawing fluid type stencil. It's the same technique with light and photo emulsion stencils. So just to, prints are a little more detail, a little more variation in texture and line weight and drawing style, and is available with this. A little more immediate. It's also a little more complicated, and gonna slowly walk you through the process of this so that you can accomplish these kind of silk screens. But let's talk a little bit more about what you already have and some things that you'll need to obtain to make these exposures. So something that came in your kit that you picked up along with your screen filler and drawing fluid. One material is called Ruby Lith. It's this red 2-layered film. One layer is the actual red kind of material. The other layer is this kind of clear film, right? And the way the photo emulsion works is anywhere on the stencil that has a light blocking or opaque area, when UV light shoots through the stencil and makes it to the photosensitive emulsion in the screen, any opaque area on your film leaves the photo emulsion water soluble. Any clear area where UV light makes it to the photo emulsion in your stencil, that hardens and won't wash away. So it's all about the clear area, in your film where UV light can make it through, and the opaque area where UV light can't make it through. This is a positive reading film, so whatever the shape of your opaque area in your film will be an open area where ink can come through in the photo emulsion in your screen. So I'm gonna require you to use some of your ruby lith, and I'm going to require that you use matte Duralar with an opaque media. Something I kind of had you buy earlier on is the Rapidograph waterproof for paper and film Black India ink. That's a tried and true opaque media, so it is thick enough to block UV light so that the stencil can affect the photo emulsion in the screen in the way we want to. So you have two pieces of both of these materials in your kit that you were to pick up at the warehouse. It's also available. It's called Matte Duralar from Art Supply Warehouse. Ruby Lith is available through Dick Blick if you want a bigger piece, or you really like this stuff and you want to buy some more, or you weren't able to pick up your art kit from the college. So really quickly, the Ruby Lith, it's 2 layers of opaque material, and you cut shapes into it, and you don't have to worry about donuts or free-floating negative spaces, because this clear layer holds together whatever shape you cut out onto. It's pretty transparent, so you can lay it over things. You cut it with an X-Acto knife, and you can lay it over a master drawing or photographs, and you can see pretty good through there, and you cut out shapes. You cut out shapes to be exposed into the photo emulsion of your screen. What you have to be careful not to do is cut through both layers of the material. You want to cut through the red material, but you want to leave the clear material intact, so it holds the shape together, whatever you want to have exposed into your screen. You cut that out with an X-Acto knife and a good fresh blade, and you try your best not to cut through both layers of the material, just cutting through the red part. Think of it as like a fruit roll-up, and the light blocking or opaque part that makes a positive image area in your photo emulsion and your screen is the red stuff, and the clear stuff just holds it in place. So that's the Ruby Lith. And then let's talk a little bit about the Matte Duralar, and one opaque media that I can stamp with the seal of approval that I know works is Rapidograph brand waterproof fur paper and film Black India ink. This stuff is awesome. You draw onto it. The Matte Duralar is also see-through, so you can lay it over a master drawing and kind of control shapes. The dip pen is awesome. You can splatter it, you can draw on it. You can also apply the Rapidograph ink with a watercolor brush. And so the opaque part of this film is this Black India ink, and the Matte Duralar is just see-through enough for UV light to make it through and harden that area in your photo emulsion where you don't want ink to go, or negative spaces. Might look kind of something like this by the end, and you sandwich that against your dried photo emulsion in a dark place, take it out into the sun and expose it to some UV light, and then take it to a water source and wash out whatever was protected from UV light by opaque media, and you'll get whatever you drew on this Matte Duralar with opaque media will be an open space in your screen where ink can come through and you can print a shape, print a drawing. So put this away for a sec. Okay. I'm coating your screens and getting them back to you in a light-proof kind of packaging that that I use a lot when I'm kind of transporting screens that have photo emulsion on them. But what you'll need to kind of get a hold of is, and I'm going to show you these next things that I'm talking about are the absolute like best things to use if you want to do an exposure at your house in the sunlight. A piece of like 2-inch thick foam, something like deeper than the well of your screen, and something that fits inside the well of your screen so that you can get some pressure. You can squish this down. A piece of glass or plexiglass from Home Depot, a couple inches smaller than the frame of your screen. You also want to have like a black surface between the foam and the screen. I like to use black felt. You can use black paper, black fabric, but there needs to be a black screen on the other side of this screen in the foam. And basically, this is your kind of home exposure setup. So basically what you do is you tape your films, whether it's Rubylith or matte Duralar with opaque media drawn onto it. You have to tape your film to there with clear tape. This screen will have dry photo emulsion, and I'll be doing this in a dark space. Tape your film onto the piece of glass or plexiglass. You can get that at Home Depot for relatively cheap. Against your screen, facing your screen, put it in a light, a thick black trash bag. You'll be getting one of those when I get you your screens back with photo emulsion. You take this outside, and you have a timer handy. You've got to do this on a sunny day, like when the sun is in the middle of the sky. Don't do it in the evening. Do it around noon, middle of the day. So you'll take this outside into the sun. It's protected. Start your timer and remove the black trash bag and let UV light shine on this, and UV light will make it through the clear parts of your stencil, won't make it through the opaque parts of your stencil. And usually the exposures are about 1 minute to 2 minutes. And cover that back up. Take it inside. Break down your setup. And then find a shady place, a not so sunny place with a water source, and with a watering gun. Some light pressure on both sides, and wherever there was dark, opaque portions of your stencil will wash away, leaving an opening in your screen for you to pull ink through. Wherever there was clear parts of your film, that photo emulsion will harden and won't wash out with the water, and those will be negative areas where ink can't get through. So you already have Rubylith. You should already have some Rapidograph ink and a dip pen. At least you should. If you don't have a dip pen, you at least have some watercolor brushes. You have some Rubylith, and then you should. And your screens are going to come back to you with photo emulsion on them inside a light-proof bag, and you need to kind of think about a piece of foam from like Joann's and a piece of glass or plexiglass from Home Depot. So that was just a quick kind of preview of some of the stuff I need you to start thinking about getting so that you can do these light stencils, handmade films with photo emulsion light stencils. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you soon.